Good afternoon. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Pagani Design PD-1712. This watch is available from Pagani Design factory store on AliExpress. During the Black Friday sale events, the price of this watch will be €77. The watch is also available from Amazon.com from Guangzhou Z Muyuxi Trading Co Limited for $100. So firstly, let's look at the box that the watch comes in, and then I'll talk you through the other items one gets with the piece. So the Pagani Design PD-1712 comes in this black cardboard Pagani Design watch box. The watch sits on a piece of foam inside a foam cutout panel, as one would expect. Although basic, it does suffice in protecting the watch in shipping, and I think it's perfectly acceptable to use this style of watch box, bearing in mind that this is a low tier price point piece at only €77 in the Black Friday sale. With regards to the other items, one gets this branded microfiber polishing cloth. I always think it's a nice touch to get a branded microfiber polishing cloth irrespective of the price point of a piece. This is the plastic tag that comes with the watch. One also gets this plastic guarantee card, and as usual the reverse isn't filled in. However, I'm pleased to report that the watch is covered by the usual 12-month international guarantee, which is very reassuring. And lastly, one also gets this basic owner's instruction manual. It also details the terms and conditions of the international guarantee, clear concise diagrams. The instructions are in English, and it details the operation of the movement used, which is the Seiko VK63 Mecha Quartz. So with regards to the specifications of the piece, this is the Pagani Design PD-1712. The watch is clearly an homage to the Omega Aqua-Terra Chronograph, and it does that very well with very similar proportions. 41mm case diameter, it has a 47.6mm lug-to-lug measurement, a thickness of 12.3mm, and it has a lug width of 20mm. The bracelet tapers from 20mm at the lugs down to the 2-button push to point clasp, and as you can see, the 2-button push to point clasp is unsigned. I want to give credit where credit's due. This is a very well executed deploying clasp with 2 hidden triggers. Good firm resistance to the 2 triggers, and it pops open both halves very easily with no resistance. Flawless mirror polishing to the top side, underside and flanks, and I like the firm resistance of the 2-button push triggers in the deployant. So Pagani Design deserve full credit because this is one of their better executed clasps, and I think they've made the correct choice, bearing in mind that this is an homage to the Aqua-Terra Chronograph, and it really is a very low profile and comfortable clasp against the wrist. So it snaps shut with a good positive click, and it really is a very well made 2-button push deployant, and I like it. With regards to the rest of the specification, we've got a domed sapphire crystal. Now the negative is there is no anti-reflective coating on the underside, and as you can see, when I tilt the piece at an oblique angle, it is highly reflective. There is a lot of glare from the silver applied indices and the silver broad arrow style hands. But however, I'm not going to level criticism because one has to expect some cost-cutting measures. This is only €77 in the Black Friday sale. One has to expect some cost-cutting measures at this price point. Yes, it would be better if it had clear AR coating on the underside, but however, it does have a very well executed double dome sapphire crystal, and I like the lip which projects above the mirror polished stainless steel bezel. As you can see, it's got a very slight dome to it. It almost looks flat, but it does have a double domed sapphire crystal, as you can see, and it's very aesthetically pleasing. With regards to the dial, I want to give credit where credit's due. I like this silver applied Pagani Design emblem at 12 o'clock, and I like the fact it's not over branded with text or specification. It's got just the right amount of information saying Pagani Design and Chronograph, and I'm really pleased they haven't branded the dial with irrelevant text. For example, they didn't put sport in an abhorrent text as per the PD-1664. So I think they've made the correct decision by using this silver applied Pagani Design emblem and not over branding the dial. It's got a nice textured finish as per the Aqua-Terra Chronograph, which this is an homage to, with the horizontal lines. The blue dial is my personal favourite. This watch is available in several dial colours, but I like the metallic sunburst finish to the blue dial. It adds interest to it. It's got a nice sheen to the metallic blue, which changes colour in the light. And they deserve full credit because this is a very well executed dial. The silver applied indices are highly finished, as are the broad arrow style hands. They've got nice facets to the broad arrow style hands which catch the light. They have a 3D effect rather than being flat. So the handset is very well finished. The applied indices are also very well finished, and I like the silver rims to the 3 sub-dials. It's got a nice symmetry to the dial. They've made the correct decision by citing the date complication between the 4 and 5 o'clock indices on the dial. White state wheel with black Arabic numerals is clearly legible, and it really is a very beautiful looking dial, and I think they've done an excellent job of this being an homage to the Aqua-Terra Chronograph. With regards to the crown, it's knurled finish, polished to a mirror finish, as you can see, embossed with the Pagani design emblem to a high standard. So let's test the crown action. The screw down crown provides an effective hermetic seal to 100 meters of water resistance, which is perfectly acceptable. So this is powered by the Seiko VK63 Mecha Quartz, which is made in Japan. The winding stem pushes out of the movement when it's unscrewed. Absolutely silky smooth. It's a very well executed screw down crown, very light resistance to it. So in the first click position, it's the quick set date complication position. If you look closely at the date window, you can see the quick set complication works as one would expect. I really like the Seiko VK63. It's one of my favourite Mecha Quartz movements because the quick set has a nice clicking mechanism. One can feel each day click over with a nice positive click. Pulling it out to the second click position is the time setting position. Being a Mecha Quartz, it has less resistance in the gearing than a Seiko NH35A automatic, so it feels silky smooth, very light resistance, absolute pleasure to set the time in the second click position. Pushing it back in restarts the movement, and it's got a nice positive click. So it feels quality and it feels reliable, and that's something I really like about the VK63. So let's test screwing it back down. Immediate thread pickup. This is excellent crown action, and again I want to give due credit to Pagani Design. As you'll know from my previous reviews, I level criticism at the brand when they have shortcomings, when there are negatives to the watch. But I'm also the first to give credit where credit is due, when they have positives, when they've done a good job. This crown execution is outstanding. It is 10 out of 10, and they do deserve full credit for a very well made screw down crown. So let's test the chronograph complication. The top pusher activates the chronograph, and as you can see, the chronograph hand begins to tick around the dial. Pressing the top pusher again stops the chronograph complication. Pressing the lower pusher activates the flyback complication, and that will make the second hand fly back to the 12 o'clock index. Perfect. The alignment is perfect on the chronograph hand. So this is something I particularly like about the Seiko VK63 Mecha Quartz. It is reliable, it's well proven, it's accurate, and there's no alignment issue whatsoever with the chronograph hand. They always reset bang on 12 o'clock. So it is the correct choice of movement. And Pagani Design deserve full credit because they could have used the cost-cutting measure of using a less expensive Mecha Quartz movement such as the Sunon PD-1712. The Seiko VK63 is more expensive than the Sunon PD-1712, but it is a higher grade of Mecha Quartz movement made in Japan rather than China, so they deserve credit for not cutting corners and using a Sunon chronograph movement rather than the Seiko one. With regards to the case back, it's beautifully engraved with a seahorse, as you can see, beautifully engraved around the circumference with the specification to a high standard. Nice mirror polishing, a nice bead blasted matte effect to the centre section. It's a very well executed case back, and it's also very low profile if you look at it from the side. Very low profile, so it's flat and it's very comfortable against the wrist when wearing the piece for long periods of time, such as 8 to 12 hours per day. The solid 316L grade stainless steel caseback provides an effective hermetic seal to 100 meters, which is perfectly acceptable, and they really deserve credit because this is a very nicely finished screw down caseback, as you can see. Absolutely beautiful engraving to it, and I like it. I think it's very well done. Flawless mirror polishing to the circumference of it and nice milled slots. It really is one of the better screw down casebacks I've seen. The end links are a good tight fit to the case, well machined, brushed satin finish to the underside of the case, and the finishing to the end links in the case is very good. So I'll give you a wrist shot and you can see how it fits on my 8-inch wrist. Now, this does come with a very long bracelet, and I have sized the bracelet. I've removed one full link. As you'll know from my previous reviews, I like to wear my watches loose on the wrist, and even with removing one full link, I can still easily fit an index finger underneath the bracelet and clasp at all times. So it does come with a very long bracelet which will fit up to a 9-inch wrist. But removing one link gives the correct fit for an 8-inch wrist, and as you can see, lovely luster to the mirror polishing of the centre links in the bracelet, and also beautiful luster to the brushed satin finishing to the 316L grade stainless steel outer links in the bracelet. So it's a very well finished bracelet. Female pivoted end links give a nice fit to the wrist. Now this is 41mm, so it does wear with wrist presence, but however it does lack heft. It's only 142 grams with all the links in the bracelets. So on a leather strap, rubber strap or NATO strap, that will significantly reduce the heft from 141 grams down to circa 120 grams. So although it's a 41mm and it does have wrist presence, it's a large piece, the head of the piece is quite large, it's very comfortable and very well balanced. It does feel like an incredibly well balanced piece. 20mm lug width perfectly balances the 41mm head of the piece. And I like the perfect lug-to-lug measurement. It's 47.6, which really is the correct lug-to-lug measurement for a 41mm head of the piece. The curved undercut profile to the case really does give a very snug fit to the wrist, and that is enhanced by the use of the female pivoted end links. I like the taper of the Aqua-Terra style case. It really is very aesthetically pleasing, very comfortable to wear because it's relatively low profile at only 12.3mm, and that's the benefit of using a VK63 Mecha Quartz. It's lower profile than an automatic and even a manual wound piece, so they've made the correct choice by using the VK63 because it gets the thickness of the piece down to only 12.3, which means it's easily going to slip underneath a shirt cuff if you wear business shirts. So really the only negative is the lack of the AR coating. If you look at the piece in the light when I tilt it, the silver applied indices and silver broad arrow hands are highly reflective, as is the metallic sunburst blue dial with the textured horizontal lines as per the Aqua-Terra. So really this would benefit from clear AR coating, but it is a very aesthetically pleasing piece. I like the mirror polished bezel, the mirror polished chamfers on the edge of the case, and also the mirror polished centre links. They all complement each other, and it does an excellent job of being an homage to the Aqua-Terra Chronograph. So the comfort level is outstanding, the feel good factor is outstanding. It's a very comfortable piece to wear for 8 to 12 hours per day. Right, so let's do a Lume test and we'll see how the Lume performs when it's charged up to the absolute maximum. So as always, I'm going to use my 100 UV LED torch to charge it up to its absolute peak. Right, so that's now fully charged and it's surprisingly good. Now, there is room for improvement. It's clearly C3 Luminova, but as I've discussed, this is only €77 in the Black Friday sale. Within the low tier, one has to expect some cost-cutting measures. One isn't going to get BGW9 Super Luminova or C3 Super Luminova at only €77. The C3 Luminova is some of the better quality lume I've seen Pagani Design use. The colour match between the broad arrow style hands and the silver applied indices is good, the same green tone on the hands and the applied indices rather than being a mismatch. Now unfortunately the applied indices don't allow for large lume plots and several layers of C3 Luminova to be applied, and of course the broad arrow style hands don't allow for large lume plots either. So there isn't a great deal of lume applied, but however it is performing to an acceptable standard, although there is room for improvement. I would like to see Pagani Design upgrade to using C3 Super Luminova or alternatively BGW9 Super Luminova, even if they have to increase the price of the watch, because it's something that collectors would happily pay for. So I would describe the lume as acceptable for a €77 price point watch, but however there is room for improvement. Right, so let's discuss the movement used because it's one of my favourite aspects of the piece. The Seiko VK63 Mecha Quartz is made in Japan, and it is reason alone to purchase this watch because it is a reliable, well-proven workhorse Mecha Quartz movement. The VK63 has a stated battery life of 3 years, and the 3-year battery life is based upon you using the watch chronograph complication for 60 minutes per day. However, in reality, you're not going to be using the chronograph complication for anything like 60 minutes per day. So therefore, although the battery life is stated as 3 years, in reality it's nothing unusual for a VK63 battery to last 4 to even 5 years with daily wear. So it's a reliable, well-proven workhorse movement with a good battery life, 3 years, which in reality is 4 to 5 years. Now the other thing I really like about it is the accuracy. The VK63 is accurate to plus or minus 20 seconds per month, not per day, not per week, per month. That is better than plus or minus 1 second per day accuracy. And I'm pleased to report that this one is running within those limits of better than plus or minus 1 second per day. I want you to consider that for a second. You are getting a chronograph piece for €77 with better than plus or minus 1 second per day accuracy, which is outstanding. And as I've discussed, Pagani Design deserve full credit because they could have used the Chinese-made Sunon PD-1712 Mecha Quartz, but they've chosen to use the Seiko VK63, which is made in Japan, which is a higher grade of Mecha Quartz movement, and it is excellent. It's one of my favourite Mecha Quartz movements. Reliable, accurate, well proven, build quality is good, quality control is good, materials are good, everything about it is good. There are no negatives to the VK63. So I think they've made the correct choice. I like the movement used. So lastly, I'll summarise the piece. What do I think of it overall? Well, when I'm considering reviewing a watch on my channel, the watch should meet two criteria. It should be both excellent quality and excellent value at the respective price point. So in the Black Friday sale, this is €77, and I'm going to base my evaluation on that price point. Really, to consider the price point, the value, one has to look at the finishing throughout. So I'm going to separate this into two. The head of the piece and the bracelet. The head of the piece is finished to perfection. They deserve full credit for this. This is one of the better Pagani Design watches. Flawless brush satin finishing to the flanks, flawless mirror polishing to the bezel, and also the large chamfer on the edge of the case as per the Omega Aqua-Terra Chronograph, which this is an homage to. This is very good quality case finishing for a watch within the low tier. The end links are good, and female pivoted end links is also an advantage over male end links. They allow for extra articulation. Now the negative is there is some play in the bracelet, as you can see, and really they could do with improving that, tightening up the play, but as I've discussed, one has to expect some cost cutting measures. Push pins in the bracelet are another clear cost cutting measure. If they use screw pins, that would be another improvement. But credit where credit's due, this is a very well executed 2-button push to point. The quality of the finishing is good, the quality of the action of the triggers is good, and it's got a good positive click on both halves when one closes it. So the 2-button push to point is excellent, and I would describe the bracelet as very well finished. Flawless mirror polishing to the center links, good brush satin finishing to the outer links, and good brush satin finishing to the flanks. So the finishing is good despite there being some extra play which needs tightening up. So the bracelet is acceptable, the clasp is excellent, the head of the piece is excellent. So overall, I'm going to declare it excellent quality and excellent value at €77. I think this is an outstanding homage to the Omega Aqua-Terra Chronograph, and I'm going to highly recommend it to you for your consideration. I hope you've enjoyed my review of the Pagani Design PD-1712. Please feel free to post your own comments below the video. Thank you very much.